Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Scorpio. If Scorpio is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so Scorpio, I'm so happy to see we have the High Priestess tonight. And you know what? That is an energy that we all need sometimes, right? We need that like flow of intuition, right? We need the flow of intuition, of that creative force, of the ability to really see kind of beyond the veneer of things, right? We all know people like this. They just look into something, they look into a person, they look into a situation, and it's all so clear to them, right? And this is very much that High Priestess energy, most definitely. The other part of it is really this kind of feeling of almost leveling up, right? Now, you might be somebody who is involved in some kind of spiritual grade system, maybe within the occult or magic communities. It could be within a religious system, whatever it is. This is also that energy, this kind of really dedicating yourself to your spiritual practices and becoming more and more initiated, if that makes sense, right? All right, let's go ahead. We're going to take a look and see what these tea leaves have to say. And so if you haven't subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. Also, if you want to hit the like button or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Okay, so we kind of have this hill, and that's the first thing I really noticed. There's this prominent hill up here, and I'm just going to turn it real quick. It's right here. Okay, so to me it looks like the holy mountain. It looks like the temple, right? If you were thinking of like an ancient civilization, or at least one that is like a little pre-modern, right? Like the Egyptians or Mesopotamia, all of those places, the Akkadians, the Syrians, the Babylonians, and they're beautiful complexes, right? Oftentimes they would have these cities, and they would be full of these beautiful and intricate buildings and different inside buildings and what they called porches, and they had gardens and all kinds of things. But usually there would be a chief, well, they call it a cult, right? A cult center. And it's not really a cult in the way that we think of a cult these days, right? But it is often that the gods and goddesses would be clustered together, okay? So you would see sometimes the consorts, so like a Horus and a Hathor kind of grouped together, and maybe some of their children, or maybe a goddess and other goddesses that kind of are in the same vein of attributes and such. So I'm looking at this, and it totally speaks to me in my mind anyhow. It speaks to me and saying that this is kind of that most prominent figure within this cluster of maybe beliefs, maybe different traditions that you're interested in. Maybe you are much like myself. I would call myself a composite practitioner, right? Some people don't like this because you're out there kind of cherry picking the different things that maybe work for you, the different practices and tenets and and gods and goddesses, and you're building your own pantheons and all this kind of thing. Not everybody's into that, right? Some people are very traditional and, you know, whatever. I myself am very postmodern. So I will create my own system if I need to. And I wonder if you are not the same, Scorpio. And I feel like whatever it is that you are focused on right now, for some reason, let me just say, for some reason, I keep thinking this has to do with something like transcendental meditation. I don't know why, but it's right there in the front of my mind. Now, it's all about the mantras in transcendental meditation, right? Repeating the same affirmations or mantras, or, you know, like a power phrase, okay? And so I see you really dwelling in this place within yourself that is helping you rise, right? And I see you so much involved with this part of your journey, right? You know, I think this is true of all of us, unless you are some kind of maybe you know, like a monk or a nun. You're living like a very cloistered life, right? We all have this tendency to kind of, well, we stray from our path, right? Or at least we get distracted. We get distracted from the work at hand, right? And we can, you know, it's like, here's my perfect example of this. When you've been working out, right? Intentional movement. You're getting up, you're making sure you're doing your run, or you're going to the gym, or, you know, I've been doing recumbent biking. That's my thing right now. And rowing. and then you get sick, right? Out of nowhere. You get the flu, and I don't mean just like a little sniffle, you get the flu, right? And you're out for like a week. And of course, you're tired. Your body takes some time to recover from all of that. And it's hard to get back to the gym, right? And then so you've been gone for a week, and then you give yourself a couple more days, and then, oh, I guess maybe I'll try this Wednesday. Maybe Wednesday will be the perfect day. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll do Thursday. I got all this stuff. I got a morning meeting, you know, whatever. We find reasons to not do it, don't we? And so if you apply this same kind of thinking to our spiritual practices, yes, we all falter here and there. Now, I'm looking at this and I know this is your turnaround. This is you re-devoting yourself to whatever it is that you find moving for you. Now, it might be transcendental meditation. It could be divination, tarot cards. It could be keeping altars, ancestral worship, right? Or I don't know that it should be called worship so much, but yeah, something like the Shinto tradition, right? Keeping an altar, making offerings, prayers and appeals for our ancestors, our elders, those who guide us, those who live in our DNA, right? It could be any of the things. I mean, there's so many, right? We all express our relationship to the divine in our own way. So I see this as being kind of the biggest aspect of this next period of time here, okay? Now, I also want to say, I see that there has been some turmoil, okay? I almost wonder if there is a father figure. It could be yours. It could be your child's father figure. Maybe it's an older brother, some kind of role model, an uncle, and grandfather, whoever, right? I see there being a lot of, what is that? It's like ruling by, fear, basically. Very strict, very boisterous, angry, like that, right? Everything's cool. Dad comes home, things are over the floor. It's the end, you know, it's the apocalypse, you know? And I feel like this energy, and I'm looking here, we have let me show you why I think this. We have this person here. Here's the head, here's the body, the arms, here's the body. Okay, we have like kind of a phallic symbol there. We have a child over here. And it looks like the father figure is pulling the toy, right? So I've seen this as like a lot of chaos, okay? Now, we also have maybe a feminine, or it could be masculine, but another figure over here. And I feel like this is maybe mother, it could be sister, auntie, whoever. This is the protector, okay? This is the one that's always picking up the pieces, okay? And I feel like there is a real father wound here. Now, it doesn't have to be that your father was this person. It could be that this is just a male archetype in your life, right? It could be like a spouse, a significant other, a good friend, or even just somebody that you like work with and you are exposed to the whims of their behavior, their moods, and all the other things, right? And yeah, you're in that environment a lot, so it affects you. And I see that we have kind of a hole in the heart. This is the heart, and there's a hole in it. And I feel like there really is. There's a fracture here from having to endure kind of this unhealed masculine energy, right? This quick to anger, quick to blaming, quick to destruction, okay? Frustration, ultimately. You know, it's just a person that you can tell is so frustrated they don't know what to do with themselves. And living with that kind of anxiety, you know, I think it's something that you've been trying to undo probably for a good portion of your life. Now, I think this all feeds into this kind of, well, almost like a spiritual renaissance for you. A calling that you have heard and that you are going to, you know, heed. And so I think that this is really kind of that central work in there. If you could think of this as like, I mean, it's like it's not just a little pebble, it's like a sharp stone that's found itself into your shoe. And you have been walking with this thing in your shoe for many years. It's probably been so long that it almost seems normal. You know, you just deal with it. That's what it is, right? Well, no. I feel like this is a time where you are saying, whatever my blockage is, my spiritual blockage, my energetic blockage, the thing that it's like the well of poison water that I keep coming back to, right? This is where I'm finding my sustenance, and it's the thing that is also, well, devastating. Mind, body, soul. And so something has to be done. And I think that for you, in this time, it's all about really seeking that process of healing, of individuation, of allowing yourself, well, yeah, to perceive the pain, maybe process it and integrate it. So it does not rule you any longer. And now this may be something that is super unconscious. But this is the work. And it's not easy. If it was easy to be a religious person, a spiritual person, somebody who, you know, lives by their faith, their belief, their devotion, their wanting to heal, their convictions. Wouldn't everybody be living that way? It's not an easy path, but it is most necessary if these are your goals, right? And so I see you really showing up for that inner child, because that's what happens when you have somebody that just continues to shut you down all the time. You speak, they speak louder. You cry, they get angry. You do something your way and they can't stand it. It's a villain. It feels like living with a villain. And so you showing up for that child within self that has been really kind of muted, right? Held prisoner by that big, scary emotion. Going in there and doing this work and finding yourself, taking care of that child, raising that child, being the protection that that child needs. It's not easy work. In fact, it can be utterly devastating. But it is worthy work. Now, we also have, it looks like Jon, maybe John, Jon. Could be Jan as well. Jan or John. And again with another J. So we have another J. We also have a woman right here. And makeup, lots of makeup and perfume. I can smell perfume as I'm talking about this. I almost wonder if this is like an auntie. It kind of almost reminds me of, have you ever seen, I almost called him Mel Brooks. It's not Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks is the director that did like Spaceballs and what was the other one? Blazing Saddles. No, what is that guy's name from The Godfather? Anyways, Streetcar Named Desire, right? Do you remember the old movie, or did you read the play when you were in high school? I did. I did both. I've seen the movie and I've read the play. But what is the sister's name? She comes and visits, and she's kind of, you know, a worldly woman, right? I'm not going to disparage this beautiful goddess, right? But yeah, they kind of show her in ill light, let's say that. But I feel like you had or have somebody in your life that is kind of this like wild card, free-spirited. It feels like it could be a sister or an aunt. And I feel like this is a relationship that it's like you get really close with them, but then all of a sudden they're off with the wind, right? And then you can go years basically with like barely hearing from them. It's like one of those people where they're always around when they're single, but as soon as they meet somebody, you cannot get a hold of them, right? And so I feel like this is going to be a time where they will be more present in your life. And that is something to look forward to, because I think that you have a pretty wonderful relationship with them. Not like Streetcar Named Desire, but kind of that archetype, right? Maybe they show up with like a couple cats and a few problems and you know, stuff like that. And they're I'm gonna come stay in your guest room and, you know, this kind of thing. So possibly something that even just hearing me say that, you're like, oh my gosh, no, not me. But I think that ultimately it's something that I feel like it kind of fills out your life, having this person around. Now, we also have a dog who's sitting right here. Okay, so we have a really good friend. I think that their name starts with an R. And it looks like we also have the goddess. We have this primordial goddess, usually kind of related to fertility, not unlike our beautiful cat goddess over here. And it seems to me that this is almost that there is maybe a little bit of conflict. Maybe the sister or whoever this is that's going to be showing up again in conflict with the good friend or maybe your spouse, or somebody does not like this energy. And I think probably, and this happens with all of us. When we have people that like we grew up with, or our family members, or whoever, we might act a little bit differently with them. We might be like flying a little bit more loosely, or hey, like maybe you just get in a mood, right? You just are annoyed immediately. It's all too much. You just start like ruminating on old things. And I feel like this person feels very protective of you because the last time around feels like it was a lot. So be ready for that energy, because it doesn't feel pleasant. It doesn't feel super dire either, but it doesn't feel very pleasant. Okay. Now I'm going to roll. We're going to do 3 lucky numbers. We have 61, number 61, 24, 34. Beautiful. Okay, now we're going to end with our Wild Offering Oracle cards. And I'm just going to go ahead, flip through, stop where it feels right. True offering. May I release the fears, illusions, and addictions that keep me from true offering. May I relax into your plan, trusting that the next steps will always be shown. Use me, love. Use me for the highest. I am yours alone. I am yours alone. All right. Well, Scorpio. My floor in here is like, I don't know what it's called, epoxy, I guess. And these little stones, if I drop them, they break. So I got to get a new set of them, because in the last couple months, I keep dropping. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so Scorpio, I'm sorry. Your little stone, it needs to be glued, or I need a new one. But yes, I'm going to tell you I love you, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to do so. I know I'm a little bit like going through the loops here. My brain is just. I was off of, I was out of town for, I don't know, a few days with my husband. Shout out to my husband over at Dove and Serpent Tarot. His name is Paul. He's wonderful. Go check him out if you haven't watched his readings. And anyways, we were out of town. I did not do any readings for like 4 days. That's the longest I've gone in years without doing a reading. And so I'm getting back into the flow of things. But it's weird because it's the holiday season, so everything's super off like schedule and routine. And yeah, so thank you for just riding through it with me. Also, if you want to like the video, it helps the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please think about doing that. It's free to subscribe. And if you want to leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Okay. All right. Well, I love you all, and I will be back in just a few days. Take care of yourself. I love you. I love you. I love you.